Hey, this is Kenny with Line Talkers Podcast. I know how much all you listeners want your cool line shirts, your hard hat stickers, tools, and any other exclusive merch to show off your pride and promote what we all do in this trade. That's why Line Talkers Podcast has partnered with the good folks at Line Crate. Their subscription boxes are like Christmas every month for linemen and their families. And your order helps honor our fallen linemen by sending their children free Line Kid Line Crates to help them through this tough time. Grab yours today and get a special surprise with your 6 to 12 month subscription. Go to linecrate.com and I promise you won't be disappointed. As I look back over my career, I think about all the awesome people I've had the privilege to work alongside, and selfishly, I would love to think that I have made a positive impact on at least a few of them. I think if I'm truly honest with myself, it's not me making the impact, but rather the other way around. They really have made an impact on me. I think about those women and men when I was a kid that I looked up to. My dad's first cousin, Gary, and his wife, Ann. My third grade teacher, Miss Collins. The journeyman when I was an apprentice. Randa Mertens, Gary Arnold, John Allen, Jim Bean, Meb Webster, Jimmy Gill, Brian Knight. And then there's those crew foremen, Bobby Callahan, Nikki Oliver, Kelly Underdown, Gary White, Dane Watkins, Ronnie Davis, Jimmy Newell, Jeff Chastain. Man, the list goes on. I'm sure you could do the same. Hey, I don't want to forget about my home boss either, Jessica. Let me add a new one to my list, Sarah Reijonen. I recently saw Sarah's post on Instagram as the founder and author of Tiny Tradesmen Books, a planned series that spotlights the technical and vocational trades for our youth. Being a line wife, living the typical tramp line family life, Sarah and her husband Spanky have traveled all over the world, literally. With her background in journalism and her husband's experience in coming up as a journeyman line hand, Sarah recently published her first children's book and the first in the Tiny Tradesmen series, Light Up the World, I Want to Be a Lineman When I Grow Up. Sarah and I recently sat down to discuss her and Spanky's crazy busy world, and she shared her vision for this book and the ones yet to come. The seed she plants with these books will be monumental and deserves us all to stop, take a pause from our busy life, and take note of who is preparing our youth for life in the real world. Once you listen to the next 20 minutes and 29 seconds, you're going to agree with me that it's not a book solely making the great impact, but rather the person behind the pen. Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." That person I have had the privilege of getting to know and introduce is doing just that. Here's author and line wife Sarah Reijonen with this episode titled Giving Kids the Power.
My name is Sarah Reijonen. I grew up in Spanaway, Washington, which is in western Washington. It's just like an hour south of Seattle. And I am married to a lineman. And most people know him as Spanky. That's his nickname since he was 5. He looked like Spanky from the Little Rascals. His uncle gave him that nickname, and it just stuck. Now, most people don't know him by any other name. What's his real name? No one knows. It's Chris, by the way. But yeah, we've been married for 15 years, been tramping for the better part of 11 years. So like most people know that in the line trade that, you know, we're just living out of a fifth wheel and going where the work is. But we tend to stay in Northern California. We've found that we really like the Placerville area, try to stay there in the foothills. It's kind of like home. Aside from being a writer, I did go to school for journalism at Washington State University. I like to dabble in a bunch of different work as well. I think it was like, in 2008, 7 and 8, something like that. I worked at Gonzaga University in the athletic department. They have an awesome basketball team, if you know them. I did communications for them for a couple years. Before I quit, my husband and I went traveling. Once we got into the tramping lifestyle, I ended up doing some freelance writing for Gold Prospecting magazine. I poured wine in Lodi for a year, and then I also got my personal trainer's license. So I currently work part-time at a gym besides, you know, writing a kid's book and trying to market and sell that.
You get bored real easy, don't you?
I do.
You can't be just sitting still and just enjoy the moment.
No.
You got to constantly be doing something.
Yeah. People accuse me of that all the time. Like, and if I can't find anything else I just end up cleaning. I just end up, cleaning. And but in a camper, that doesn't take like more than 30 minutes.
There's medication for that, right? Okay.
No, I like it.
Okay.
I like going. It's good. And for me, like my husband's even more of a busybody than I am. So I actually have to keep up with him most of the time, not the other way around. Yeah. If you think I'm busy, see that guy. I always tease that I have to keep my hair short because, he drags me around by my hair.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I got to keep it short because that guy just will drag me everywhere.
You said journalism was your major. You were a communications employee for the university. What made you decide to write a book? And then before I answers, I picked up on something today that I want to highlight. Mm-hmm. I think I watched one of your videos on Instagram, and yes, I'm like an Instagram stalker, especially somebody I'm going to interview because I want to make sure that I cover everything.
Of course.
And you made a statement in one of your interviews or somewhere on your Instagram page about it's okay to grow up and not go to college. Is that what drove you to write this book, or what? Tell me a little bit how that started. But I didn't want to miss that point about it's okay not to go to school. I right out of high school, I didn't go to college. You can make a great living, and that's an understatement.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about the book.
I really do believe you don't have to go to college. And my husband is proof of that as well. Both we met at college, actually. We went to Washington State together, and he only really went because he had a couple of scholarships that he had to burn, and all of his buddies were drinking, and he wanted to go party with them.
Nice. I didn't realize that was a major, but I didn't realize that was a major. But leave it up to a lineman to find that in college. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. At Wazoo, for sure. It's major, yeah. We met there, and then, he didn't go to class ever.
Really? I would never have guessed that.
Oh, yeah. He just partied and hung out. And then finally, and I was a really good student, and I worked for the student newspaper. So that was totally my thing. But he just didn't like school. He just wasn't interested. He's really smart. So basically, I'm sorry to interrupt, but basically you're one of those kids that our parents, like your husband's parents and my parents, always compared us to. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So he went to college, and then finally he proposed to me, and then he decided oh wow, I better get my act together because now I'm going to have a wife to support, and have someone else besides myself. So that's when he really decided he was going to quit college and then go to line school. And he always kind of knew he wanted to be a lineman. A bunch of his dad's buddies were linemen growing up. He grew up in a really small county, 200 people. His graduating class was 20 people. So small area, small county. And that was that was literally the best job in the county, and still probably is today, Mm-hmm. There's just not a lot of jobs, but he just was really drawn to it and had always been. So he went back to that and ended up being an awesome career for him. And he makes today more than most of his friends who went to college.
Of course.
He has as much time off as he wants, we took off 7 months that one year, and then we've taken off a whole 9 months at one point as well. We'll just save up money and go. I think it's such a great career, and I think people should really be open to that and not turn their noses up at the trade.
Yep. Agreed.
So that's part of the reason why I want to showcase that and write that book. And it's really about getting kids aware of it at a young age. I think with anything, any country I've ever gone to can't create societal change without teaching the children. Let's start there.
That's a good statement. It really is. I always enjoyed, I came up at a municipal in Tennessee, and I remember taking the bucket trucks to the elementary schools and stuff. That was the best fun. That was the most fun ever. The kids putting on your rubber gloves and your hard hat and your safety glasses and the hot sticks. That was the most fun.
Oh, yeah. But they never get to see that stuff. Otherwise, really, they don't know what linemen do. They don't know, that linemen exist for the most part. It's a lot of people. It's just firefighters, policemen. Every kid wants to be like a policeman or a firefighter when they're growing up. But a lineman, let's get some exposure.
And I really appreciate the fact that you're spotlighting that in your book to kids. I think it's important.
Yeah, I hope they enjoy it, and I hope that they just have a better understanding of what the trades are about and the success that can come with getting into the trades versus college.
I'll be honest, I haven't ordered your book yet, but I plan on it.
That's okay.
Yep, I plan on it because I want to read it. I wish I had have before we did the podcast, but with the holidays and you being under the weather and everything, I'm a man of many excuses, but I did not order your book like I was supposed to. So can you just tell me a little bit about the book? What's inside? Is it like a small, short book? What age group is it for?
So I would say it's probably about 4 to 7 year old age group. There's some bigger terms in there. It's like, I know I want to be kid friendly, but I also don't want to dumb it down either. I want them to actually like learn some of these things, and kids absorb so much. I have all the faith that they will understand and like internalize all that and figure out how electricity works by that book. Yeah, it's a couple of different components to it, I guess. Like the beginning, it's just about the kid wanting to be a lineman. And then it goes into how electricity works, tools that linemen use, the exciting parts of the job, what you get to do, all that. And also there's a character component too of like the character you have to have as a lineman. You have to be strong and brave and fearless, a hard worker. So I also want to instill some of those character traits into the kids and help them to build on that as they read their book.
And I take it your husband was your subject matter expert for this?
Oh, yeah.
And he's getting royalties off of this too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like my manager kind of, I guess. We'll let him think that at least. Like every good wife does.
Sure.
I totally used him for all of the visuals, which was kind of difficult because my illustrator I hired, who's amazing, she did such a great job, and I'm so pleased with all the illustrations. I had to translate to her what needed to be drawn, and I just went through Pinterest and pinned all these photos for her of like power poles and all of the bucket trucks and everything. I really wanted to get everything accurate because I knew linemen would look through it and be like, no, that's
Pick
wrong.
it apart.
What is that?
Pick it apart.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just like, my husband picked it apart, which is great. And we just kept going and working until we got it right. It should all be accurate.
And see, so you made sure too for her not to ever, or anyone to ever refer to them as telephone poles. You said power poles a minute ago. I can tell you're in the business because you said power poles. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Any lineman knows, and line wife knows that. It's like, that's a big no-no.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Very much so. Is this your first book? Is this your first one?
This is my first children's book. I'm planning on doing an entire series. So it's going to be, that's what Tiny Tradesmen is for. It's going to be a whole series about the trades. So I obviously started with linemen because I'm partial to them. I'm going to do probably, 5 or 6 other trades as well.
That's awesome. And have a set. That is very, it's very cool.
Yeah, yep. I'm excited. And I love it because the journalist in me gets to learn. I like interviewing. So, I can interview other people in the trades and learn more about those trades. I mean, I think the next one will probably be about welding. I want to be a welder when I grow up, just because I noticed there's such a presence of welders on like social media and stuff, and they're also proud trade and love what they do. I really think I'll probably feature them next, but I'm excited to learn how all that works.
Yeah. If you learn it, let me know, because I suck at it. Remember back in the day, I literally suck at welding.
Well, I don't think I will be able to weld.
Oh, I think you have to. I think you should.
I know.
I think you really should to, experience the full thing of welding. I think you should.
Right.
Yep.
Well, my friend just sent me a picture. His daughter, her school had like a trades night, which I thought was so cool. And they did invite a welder to come and help the kids. And so his daughter built this little thing. She welded this little piece it was like a little pencil holder. She built that, and she was just like, you could tell in the picture, she was just like super proud of that. So if she can do it, I can do it.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, that's right. I like your attitude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I probably should have asked this at the beginning, and my questions were kind of out of order. I was just kind of putting them down on paper. But what drives or inspires you? Like what are you doing this for a hobby, or are you doing it because you want to make a difference, or what's driving your inspiration for this book and for the rest of your books?
I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I like having new challenges. I like learning. My husband and I don't have any kids. I don't know if we ever will. It's still up in the air. We love travel so much that it's been really hard to be like, ooh, I don't know if we can not give it up, but just like really change the way we travel. So it's been difficult to think about that, but we've been saying maybe in 5 years. And that was like since we've first got married 15 years ago. So I don't know if we'll have kids, but I do want to leave a legacy, and I do want to have an impact on the next generation too. So I think that's part of the drive. And then just like as a journalist, I have always had a passion for giving a voice to the voiceless. And I just